pretty much done his thing and was just renting his place out to other folks, and they were the ones doing the growing, and he's doing the cleanup. He's paying for everything, and he's almost there. He's almost got it all taken care of. So that's what you see. You see one end of the spectrum or the other end of the spectrum, where they have a little buy-in in the property, a little buy-in in the community. They don't make such a big mess in the first place, and they try to take care of things. And then the other end of the spectrum is where they just don't care, and they just want to rape it and run, basically.
Okay, I guess I'll just jump right in. My name is Tony Linegar. I'm the Assistant Agricultural Commissioner for Mendocino County. I started my career with the Shasta County Department of Agriculture in 1994, and I spent about 7 years with them before coming to Mendocino County in 2001. My first week working in Mendocino County, I was out on an inspection up on Bell Springs Road of a small organic farm. And as I drove up Bell Springs Road, I noticed a small pickup truck in front of me, and it had drip tubing stacked probably 15 feet high as it barreled up the mountain. And I thought to myself, I didn't know there were vineyards up on Bell Springs, because I'd kind of briefly reviewed where the vineyards and orchards were before I started. So the gentleman I was working with in my department kind of looked over at me in this knowing way and said, there's other agriculture going on up here. So that was my first introduction to the marijuana industry in Mendocino County, and it happened within the first few days. Just a few days later, we were in Branscombe on a weed eradication project when we stumbled upon some large flats of seedlings that were getting ready to be planted, apparently. This was in June. And I asked my partner I was working with, I said, well, what should we do? Don't we need to report this, or what do we do? And he looked at me and said, we got to come back in here every year. And I said, oh, okay. So we just kind of looked the other way, and I said, oh, okay. So there began my education, and since then I'm going to kind of walk you through some of the experiences the Department of Agriculture has had with marijuana and how our paths have crossed at least since I've been there. Like many other agencies, we're caught up in between this conflict between state and federal law, and it kind of leaves us in limbo. But I guess a good place to start would be to talk to you about what the responsibilities of an agricultural commissioner are and what the Department of Agriculture does. One of our main responsibilities is to regulate pesticide use, and that's really all pesticide use, commercial agriculture. And also we have the responsibility of investigating pesticide-related illnesses. All pesticide-related illnesses, when a doctor sees somebody that they suspect is ill from a pesticide exposure, they're required by the Health and Safety Code to report that to the public health officer, who in turn routes that information to Sacramento. It comes back around for us to investigate. So every pesticide illness, we're responsible for investigating, determining what the cause was, and if in fact a misuse of the pesticide led to that cause. Of course, we also have the ability to fine people for the misuse of pesticides. So just as a little bit of background, those are some of the responsibilities that we have at the Agricultural Commissioner's Office. This issue really started to come to a head for us. It seemed like around 2005 we were hearing a lot of anecdotal information about pesticide use in marijuana. I think this is at a time when things were really ramping up. A lot of people were coming into the county to grow marijuana. As many people have spoken about tonight, there's a lot of money involved in this. People get very greedy, and they really don't have any concern, not only for the environment and some of these large grows, but they don't have any concern for what they're putting on the marijuana plant, who's going to be the end user of that plant, and what might be the health effects. So I guess I should say that no registered pesticide can legally be applied to marijuana. The Code of Federal Regulations, Title 40, establishes residue tolerances for all pesticides on all consumable crops. And actually, this past year, when there was a bill in the State Assembly for Mendocino County to grow industrial hemp, That was one of the issues in California, there are no pesticides registered for use on hemp. So the same thing goes for marijuana. I've been asked this question many times. I get called by people that grow marijuana asking me the legalities of applying pesticides to marijuana. We actually wrote a letter, my boss, to the Department of Pesticide Regulation to seek some guidance on this issue. There are some materials out there, pesticides that are exempt from registration, and these are things like rosemary oil, corn gluten meal, naturally occurring compounds. They're exempt from registration from the EPA, so therefore there are no residue tolerances required. So technically some of those materials could be applied, but we would discourage the use of any pesticides in any medical marijuana situation. So this pesticide misuse issue led to probably what gained us notoriety, not so much wanted notoriety, but we had a bunch of issues like the pesticide issue. We also had a caregiver for an ill patient, a legitimately ill patient, come to us that was concerned about the pesticide issue, and they wanted to inquire about the organics, the chance that organic marijuana could be certified. They had genuine concerns that